Hello, my name is Neil Keller. In today's video I'll be going over the seated get up. It's a leg exercise, and if you're into one-legged squats, this might be something that you'd like to play with. And basically it means getting up and lifting. So from a seated position moving into a one-legged squat. And when I'm teaching this to the old ladies in my class, I tend to break it down a little bit. Some of them may have stability issues with their standing leg. Some of them, because it's a new movement, they're not used to it, and so I have them use their hands to help. So in this video I'll just go over the breakdown, how I work towards it. And in a following video I'll go over an option, a way of standing up from sitting using both legs at the same time and doing it in such a way that it doesn't mess up your knees, or being aware of your knees so that you don't mess them up. And I'll also talk about some variations of these one-legged exercises that use the arms that can be used as warm-ups. But anyway, the seated get up. So the first step for this exercise, and we might have done say bound angle or tabletop as a warm-up, just a way of getting used to using the legs. But the starting position, one leg folded under, one leg on top, hand behind you. So I break this down into two basic steps. The first step is using the hand, is lifting the hips. So the first step is using the hand to lift the hips, and then lifting the hands, lifting the hand, putting the hand back down and lowering down. So this is just to get used to feeling where the weight is on your bottom leg and your top leg. And one thing that you can be aware of, particularly for the bottom leg, is the foot position of the bottom leg. So generally what I would suggest is actually pointing the foot, particularly when lifting up, so that as you lift the hips, your shin can roll over your foot without putting too much stress on the knee. If your foot's like that and you're lifting up, the angle of the foot can put a little bit of stress on the knee, because it keeps the shin in place and your thigh moves relative to the knee. So if you've got tender knees, do make sure that you're pointing your foot when you do this. So anyway, first exercise, lifting the hip using the hands. Now, a variation of this, once my students have the basic idea, then the next step is to do the same thing without using the hands. So reaching the hands forward, perhaps leaning inside the leg, then lifting the hips. And what you may find is that you may be pressing down through this leg in order to get up. That's fine. The important thing is being able to get up smoothly and slowly without using your hand. That can be the exercise. And then you switch legs. So making sure that the foot underneath is pointed, you can use your hand initially to get up. So when you're using your hand, you're using your hand to push your body forwards so that your weight is on your leg, your bottom leg, and your top foot. Then you can lift the hand and stay in this position with the hips lifted. You could lift your hips higher, which would be important for the next step if you like. And then when you put the hand down, notice as you shift back how your hand presses into the floor. So this could be a weight awareness exercise as well, or a weight shifting exercise. Well, it is a weight shifting exercise, but you can use it to get used to using your hand to feel weight as well as your feet. So moving forward, if you're using your hand, feel your hand pressing into the floor. As you move forward, feel your hand having less pressure, then you can lift it. Hand down lightly first, then as you lean back, your hand presses down, then your hips touch down, and then you can relax. Now when moving forward without using the hands, you might need to use some momentum to get your weight forward so that your weight actually gets over some part of your foundation that you can use to then lift you up and keep you lifted. So shifting forward, lifting the hips, and relax. So initially it might be a bit of a jump when you're first trying to do this without using your hands. Then see if you can do it a little bit more smoothly. Now for the next phase of the exercise, you'll be lifting the bottom leg. And often what I do, an important idea in a low squat, and this is whether you're standing up and squatting down with one leg or both legs, or from a seated position standing up, is leg stability, is stability in general. And for me right now, I've been having some knee problems and hip problems that I've been working through. And the way I use these problems, part of these videos and part a result of the problems I've had with my body, trying to figure out the muscle activations that make it easier for me to do the things that I want to do, without causing pain, without messing up my body. But what I found the most bang for the buck activation for leg stability in squats, and I've been doing front squats as well with weights, and there I've had problems with my knee, and what I found is calf activation seems to be currently the single best thing, the single consistent thing that I can do to help keep my knees happy. There are other things I play with as well, but calf activation right now seems to be one of the main ones. So when I say calf, I mean both the soleus, that's the muscle that attaches the heel to the lower leg bones. That I feel is important to activate because it can pull the fibula down, which in turn gives this band of tissue a foundation from which to stabilize the hip. But also the gastrocnemius, which attach to the back of the thigh, so they attach from the heel to the back of the thigh. So when you're activating the calf, the idea for this exercise is to activate the calf, try to create maybe a pulling down sensation on the knee, but in particular try to make the tension even on both sets of tendons on the outside and the inside. So you could practice that in the previous exercise. So whether you're using your hand or not, in this position, squeeze the calf, squeeze the back of the knee. You can adjust your hips side to side. You maybe lift one hip higher than the other. Whatever you do, try to adjust your position so it's easier to make the back of the calf feel strong and the back of the knee feel strong. So your hamstrings may be activating as well, but focus on the calf and then relax. And that's another point, because the tendons of the gastroc interlock with the tendons of hamstrings. So activating your calf muscles first may give the hamstrings a stable foundation, help make it easier to activate the hamstrings, especially in a squat where the knee is bent and they might have some slackness. It might be a way of adding extra tension to the hamstrings. So lifting up, squeeze the calf, squeeze the back of the knee, lower down. Lift up, squeeze the calf, the back of the knee, and relax, and then repeat that on the other side. So again, point this bottom foot, lift up, use your hand if you need to. Calf, back of the knee, relax. And if you can, take a bit of time here, get used to feeling the calf, the back of the knee, try to make it feel strong, comfortable. So it's going to feel strong, and it shouldn't be, ideally it should just activate it, make it feel stable, secure, so your knee feels happy, and then relax. Now the next step is the actual lifting of the bottom knee. So lifting up, calf active, knee active, and what I suggest, use the hands initially if you're not sure. Press down with your hands to add some stability. It's sort of like add some stability so you're helping to support your upper body. Then lift the bottom knee, and if possible, the bottom foot. Put them down. If you need to, use your hand initially to lower yourself down. So this is a little bit like arm balances where your shins rest on your leg. So in an arm balance, it's not quite a handstand because you're actually using your legs to help support your lower body. And this is kind of the same thing. When you're using your hands like this, you're using your arms to help support your upper body, so your legs don't have to do quite as much work. Your arms are helping out. So that's one option. If when you lift your other foot you find your knees going all over the place, leave this out. or do use your hands, or maybe you could use a wall. I don't know. Maybe if you find your legs wobbling too much, if you get any pain doing this, then just work on squatting from a standing position, lowering down, or you could use a chair. Maybe move your feet back, lean forward, try lifting one foot, press down with the foot. Try to press down with the foot with great pressure so that your butt, your hips get light on the chair. And if you find you're wobbling, maybe use your hands to stabilize. You can use your hands to help move your body so that your knee feels strong, your foot feels strong. Maybe you can try actions like that, just so you can find a place where your shin feels stable. So once you are comfortable with using the hands, then you can try without the hands. Calf strong, knee strong, lift and lower. Hips up, calf strong, knee strong, lift the knee, lift the foot, and then slowly lower them if you like. Do both legs. Lift up, and you might find one leg might be different than the other. If you have to use the hand on the other side, that's fine. Use the hand to help you get up, or use the hand here. Calf, knee, lift the foot, and relax. And that's the thing. If you find one side is better than the other, it's not a bad thing. You can use the good side. Maybe notice your bottom leg position. Notice the position of your foot, your knee relative to your hip. Is the foot out more? Is it in more? When you lean forward, is this hip down or up? How is this foot positioned relative to your pelvis? How is it positioned relative to the bottom leg? All of these things can matter. When you're leaning forward, where does your armpit go relative to your knee? Is it going inside, or are you going forward? When you're going forward, is this knee out or is it upright? And what else might you be doing? Are you doing something like this? Is that making it easier or harder? Or are you doing something like this? Ooh, watch out there. So notice the things that you're doing on the good side, and then notice what you're doing differently on the not so good side, and then see if you can make your workout by noticing the little bits, the little details, by breaking it down, focusing on little bits at a time. Notice what you do on the good side so that then you can work at improving the not so good side. So I should point out that I generally, right now, I tend to use this exercise at the beginning of a class. We might start off with, say, bound angle, pressing the feet down. If you press the feet down in bound angle, that activates the outer thigh. Another option is to actually lift the feet so that you're working on the inner thigh. Yet another option is to lift the foot and straighten the leg, bring it back down like so. So that's one set of warm-up exercises. Another warm-up exercise that I might use prior to the seated get-up is tabletop preps, shoulder awareness, practicing that, or even to get used to using the calves, or to prepare the calves, lifting shoulders, lifting the hips, and then in this position here, calves activated, knees activated, relax. Activate the calves, try and squeeze the calves, activate the knees, relax. And that's the thing as well, I talked earlier about making the sides feel even. In tabletop, when you're using both legs at the same time, you might find one calf feels different than the other. So again, analyze the difference. What is it? Know that there are two lower leg bones, the fibula on the outside, and then the main bone, which is the tibia. Are you creating a downward pull on the fibula when you activate your calves? Does the outer calf feel, for me on this side, the outer calf doesn't feel quite as active, and you might have to adjust your foot position, the tilt of your heel, the foot position. Maybe you may have to adjust something so that you can get both calves feeling the same, both activating, and also the tendons at the back of the knee, trying to create even tension in the back of both knees when you're doing it. So you can use that exercise to help. And Just as another note, with tabletop, I like to do it with the fingers pointing back as well. So I'll do it first with fingers pointing forward as a way to rest, maybe something like Navasana, pulling the knee to the hip, which again can be a good way to warm up the hips for the seated get up. So focusing on squeezing the hip, or perhaps here with the knee to the chest, making the knee feel strong and then relaxing. So then we'll do tabletop with the fingers pointing back, and again, calves active, relax, calf, back of the knees active. Take a few moments, feel them, try to make both sides feel the same, and then relax. Repeat a few more times. And then, again, before the seated get up, maybe boat pose again, knee to the chest, this time straightening the knee. And here what I found is, again, using the calf, you might find with the knee straight, it feels somehow better to activate the calf and make the back of the knee feel strong in this position, and then relax, and then the seated get up. And because I'm warming up in a seated position, one idea of the seated get up is that it's a nice way to transition to standing. So on your last leg, when you're doing the last side, so after your final get up, you know, calf strong, knee strong, leg strong, you just stand up. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you like it, please do share it. Please like it. Really appreciate it. And have a great day. Namaste.